Black men, in particular also young Black and brown men and women in the prison to school pipeline. What we're going to do is a die-in exactly at noon, and we're going to spread our bodies out here in the front of Gutman and into Gutman Cafe. Feel free to put your bodies wherever you want. The goal is to make it hard for people to get around you so that they have to see what they may not want to look at, okay?
The past few weeks have illuminated a profound moral incongruence in the way that our nation's criminal justice system works. The recent non-indictments of the officers who killed Eric Garner and Michael Brown, considered among the deaths of countless other Black and brown men and women at the hands of police, calls for urgent and purposeful action to demand that such transgressions do not remain a permanent fixture within our nation. As educators, it is essential that we recognize our unique position in this struggle for justice. Educational policies, such as zero tolerance and the militarization of schools, play an enormous role in the way that young people we work with are perceived by others, but also how they perceive themselves. If we are here to truly learn to change the world as we say, we must reflect deeply on how many of us are complicit in policies that criminalize Black and brown children throughout their schooling. Black students account for 18% of pre-K enrollment, but make up 48% of suspensions. Black students are expelled at 3 times the rate of their white counterparts. Black girls are suspended at higher rates than any other demographic of girls. And while it is important to talk about what we are doing in our schools that criminalizes Black and brown youth, it is equally important to talk about what is happening in the schools of those who took their lives. Officer Darren Wilson had a teacher. Officer Daniel Pantaleo had a teacher. George Zimmerman had a teacher. What is happening in the schools and communities where our police officers grow up that is making them fear Black and brown life? How are our schools socializing and institutionalizing that fear? What can we do as educators to push students to unlearn the prejudices and biases that we've been inundated with by society? In addition to this reflection, it is crucial that our institution at Harvard actively recruits faculty and supports curricula that directly address issues of race, urban inequality, ethnic studies, and social justice. HGSC must demonstrate its commitment to this work not simply when national tragedies occur, but always. We will now continue to lay down for 4.5 minutes to honor those whose lives have been lost and the lives of those students, parents, and communities that we seek to serve.
Negatively impacted by unjust educational practices was set on that path by a teacher. An educational leader approved the zero tolerance policy that placed that student on a pathway to the school-to-prison pipeline. A school of education neglected to use its influence to develop future educators as culturally responsive and culturally competent practitioners. And some of us have developed a normalized failure mindset for ethnic youth and low-income youth that led to the intolerable statistics that were mentioned earlier. This die-in is not a fad. It's a part of a larger movement of student groups in HGSC to challenge not only ourselves, but the greater Hugsy community to stand up for educational and social justice. In order to transform the sector, we must first transform ourselves. I leave you with a quote by Bell Hooks. Resisting oppression means more than just reacting to your oppressor's actions. It means envisioning a new way of being, different ways than you currently live in the world. And true resistance begins with confronting someone else's pain, whether it's yours or someone else's, and have a willingness to stand up and fight against it. Please rise. We ask you to take a collective deep breath in, a deep breath out. This is going to be a long and arduous journey, but we are on it together to continue to challenge one another in HESE to stand in the face of injustice. We encourage you to shake a hand or give a hug to someone because we will need love to keep us going.